All In Sports Network. We love sports.
Home to the cradle of basketball. Presented by the Unstable Blues.
Welcome back in. There will be a first-time NBA championship winner as the Thunder and the Pacers are each making their second appearance in the finals. What will make the difference in the series? Plus, we will give you our predictions. So let's go all in.
That's correct. I'm Kevin. This is my son Liam. We're the Unstable Blues. Happy to present All Indiana Sports as part of the All In Sports and Rogue Media Sports networks.
Yeah, the Pacers won the Eastern Conference Finals on Saturday, and
Woo!
The lead story on Monday was, what's wrong with the Knicks? We will focus on the perspective of the winner, with the only thing said about the Knicks is that Indiana, again, got a coach of a rival fired.
Oh, it's so good and reminds me of this. It's already happened once then, and it happened again as Tom Thibodeau was fired against the post-game wishes of Jalen Brunson. But credit to Mike Greenberg from ESPN's Get Up for pointing out that if this same Pacers team was in Boston or Miami or Chicago, people would be talking about them differently. That's our job, is to talk about them how they should be talked about. You're welcome.
Yep. Just a little thing about the odds of this real quick.
Yes.
The Thunder, minus 700.
Okay.
And the Pacers are plus 500.
Which means
that the Thunder are heavily favored.
Heavily favored, yes. So if you bet $10, you will only get 7 if the Thunder win. If you bet $10 on the Pacers, you're going to get 50 in return.
If the Pacers win.
Right. So, but this is not an unfamiliar thing. Pacers line was minus 205 against the Bucks before the series started, plus 360 with the Cavs and minus 175 with the Knicks. The Knicks being the surprising one to me that they were actually favored in that one.
Yeah.
Also, Tyrese Halliburton pointed out in his pre-practice press conference on Tuesday that no analyst, no one in the media is picking them to win, and that's okay. That's just exactly where they want it, which was my thought too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Once again, flying under the radar, even though it's only down to 2 teams.
Right.
It does not make sense.
It's okay. It's okay. Here, before we jump into that, here's what I've said since the beginning, that this series, this final series, which is being called the Flyover Finals, I don't know if you've seen this, because it's too small market. This series is exactly what the NBA needs to bring basketball back to the forefront of the NBA. The NBA is changing. The stars are gradually going away, and what is coming in its stead is team basketball. 2 teams that go really deep, that practice unselfish, fundamental basketball for the large part, minus maybe one MVP player that might come up in our discussion. So here's the thing. If you don't care about these teams, fine. I get it. Smaller market. But if you like basketball, watch the series. If you like watching March Madness, this is a great time for you to jump into the NBA and see how it can kind of be like that a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
With all that said, I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
Do you want to do this part?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I'm going to ask you, we're going to lead off with, what is the biggest key for the Thunder if they are going to win the series?
I'm gonna split this up in two things.
Okay.
What the Thunder need to do and what they need to do against the Pacers.
Oh, okay.
So
I thought those would go together.
They kind of are. What the Thunder need to do for themselves. What the Thunder needs to do for the Pacers.
Okay, go. Got it.
What they need to do for the Pacers is just stop transition.
Oh.
They need to be a good transition team. They are more of a slower team because they are a defensive team. That's just that tends to be how that's played. I was talking with someone, I heard something that they were talking about a benchmark with the Pacers. If they hit 110 or above, you pretty much lost.
Yep.
I would say that's a very good benchmark for this game, for this series as well. You need to limit transition offense and have good transition offense yourself. And if you are the Thunder, you need to keep them more half court. Half court is where you're going to win. Keep the game slow, and get your role players involved. It can't just be the SGA, Chet, and Jalen Williams show. You got to get everybody else involved. Hartenstein, Caruso has been a really big factor for them, so you gotta get everybody involved. So that's kind of the main things that I have.
All right.
So
sounds good. So you want to set me up on the next one?
yeah. Okay. So we did Thunder.
Yep.
What about the Pacers?
All right. Okay. There's this glaring thing of you're playing against the MVP, right? SGA. And how do you stop somebody who is regularly decided to go for 50, right? But I'm going to go back to some more fundamental basics, team basketball, something that they have not been great at, even during this successful playoff run, and that is defensive, offensive rebounds, keeping them off of their offensive glass and doing an offensive rebound for you, okay? So defensive rebounding being the main one that they were not great at and could still be a challenge with players like Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren, right? So that's the one. And then making sure that you win the turnover battle. We talk about this a lot with the Colts. It's more glaring in the NFL, but both of these teams are very driven by their turnovers. And so if you can win the turnover battle, I believe that bodes well. But then we had this little discussion about SGA. So I'll let you chime in a little bit here.
Okay.
I said you have to stop SGA. That has to be priority one, just like it was against Jalen Brunson. You got to rotate you guys. You got to be ready to do what you got to do. SGA is a different stature. He's not as big body. He is taller and lankier, and so creates different problems for that. So that would be one of my main things is stop him, right? Because he's the scorer. You said,
don't worry that much about him. Yes, he's the MVP. I think from watching some stuff, watching some analysis, some games of theirs, that type of stuff, I saw that SGA can only do what he can do because of everyone around him. Because everyone around him, believe it or not, is a threat. Hartenstein was the starting center for the Knicks last year
in the playoffs. Yep.
He was a big contributor. Obviously, he's a contributor to this. Chet he's big. He's really tall, hard to deal with. Jalen Williams is a phenomenal defensive player. He is their number one defensive player. He's also a great offensive weapon. So, you have Caruso coming off the bench. So you have all these players who are so phenomenal in their own right, and then you have SGA, who is such an offensive threat that if you limit everything else, you can kind of then adjust your game plan a little bit to tune around that, rather than it being around SGA. Let it be around the role players instead.
I got you.
And I think that's kind of honestly how the Thunder have to take it with the Pacers. Don't let it be, because for the Pacers, their number one scorer isn't Halliburton. It's Siakam.
Yep.
So it's not limit Siakam or Halliburton. It's limit the role players, because then you force only those two to start doing stuff. And that's dangerous because Siakam can do that, but there's only so much he can do. So I think defensively for both of these teams, it stopped the role players, because funny enough, both these teams play team basketball, so the role players matter a lot.
Yeah, I think the other main thing for the Pacers would be Run, 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 run. You are the Pacers. You set the pace. That's been the biggest difference in all of these, in this whole playoff run. But with that, you can't get so concerned, just like they do. You can't get so concerned if they score a bucket. What you do is you counter with a transition basket on the other end. Transition off of made baskets is huge for the Pacers, but in general, don't worry so much about what just happened. Worry about what's in front of you and continue to chip away, because it's that long game of that pace that brings the other team down.
I saw another thing that was talking about how the Pacers have fast breaks off of makes. They have fast breaks off of turnovers. They have fast breaks off of a defensive rebound. They will get the defensive rebound and run.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
And they're leaving one or two people in the backcourt while you have
asking for a foul or, whatever, because that
take and run.
You go, right? Turn and go. But you bring up an interesting point, which I've thought about this too. And this is part of what goes into this series, potentially bringing basketball back. These teams are so well matched and sort of a mirror image of each other. Best two records in the NBA since January are entering into the finals. This is not a mistake. Okay. Like the Cavs, sure. The Knicks, the Celtics, okay. These are the teams that should have been here. Okay. With all that said, like, you have the best offensive team versus the best defensive team in the NBA. Statistically,
does defense win championships?
Does it win in basketball? I don't know. You have what I'm calling experience versus youth. The Thunder are the youngest team in this playoffs, and therefore I believe the youngest team ever to make the finals.
Second.
Okay. All right.
Their average age is 25 point something, and the other, and I don't remember who it was. I think it was like the Rockets or something like that. It was like 24.8 or something.
All right.
So very close.
Very close. The experience on the other side is Pascal Siakam, TJ McConnell, Miles Turner. But then there's the sneaky one that we just talked about. Thomas Bryant is a championship winner with the Nuggets in 2023.
Whenever they won it last, yeah.
Yeah. So, but then I think the experience also you have to bring up coaching. Young gun with the Thunder, up and comer, but then you got Rick Carlisle on the other side.
Took the 2011 Mavs to be another big three, because apparently Jalen Williams, Chet, and SGA is a big three.
Yep.
Didn't know that, but it's fine.
Okay.
I think you have to be consistent all the time to be a big three, and two of those three are not consistent. But you're calling this a big three. Carlisle looks at that and goes, "That's funny. I've beaten a big three." So,
yep.
Not saying they have a Dirk, but
and still the winningest playoff coach for the Pacers, because he's been there for two different stints. So, there you go. That very well matched. Both deep teams, both like to run, both like to make you uncomfortable, because they impose their system. So it's well matched. This is what you want. You want teams that do well complementing each other, because then you have some drama in a series that maybe people don't care about because you're not from Oklahoma or Indiana.
One last thing for the Pacers, specifically for Carlisle: hold your challenges. Don't do it. The Anunoby one, that was a foul.
It is terrible when you have to use your challenges early because of the. Sorry, I didn't have it with me. It wasn't ready.
But you're facing SGA, who has. So there was a stat that came out about everybody left in the playoffs.
Yes.
Who has the most free throws made?
Yes.
SGA has 120 something.
Yep.
And this playoffs. SGA in the first half is second place. SGA in the second half is third place. Then it's Benedict Mathurin. So you have someone who knows how to get the fouls, get the calls. So you have to save it for later in the game whenever they matter more.
Yep.
You have to save it for whenever you know you're going to get because challenges are so important because regardless if you're a small market or not, I'd say the Thunder is a little bit bigger of a market than Indiana because Indiana has been to the finals. Well, they've both only been to the finals 2 times, but they've had bigger stars, bigger players come through the Thunder. So and Indiana's just a small little place. So
tiny little place that believes in basketball.
Yep.
Really quick, can I just take an aside and say I don't like the whole challenge situation? I think I've talked about this in football before, but with the technology that we have and the camera angles that we have right now, the fact that a coach has to challenge a play that people at home can clearly see that was wrong, we should have some guy, a group of people watching in the sky, all the camera angles, and be able to whistle down, call down, make the quick change so we don't have to sit here for 2 minutes so the referees can watch a monitor to see what we clearly just saw.
Right. Agreed. I agree.
The fact that it should come down to a challenge, you only have 2 if you get the first one right, is absolutely silly to me. The goal of every referee crew should be get the call correct no matter what. It should not be, oh, well, my pride, that's what kills the world. Okay. Next up, do you have any bold predictions? I've made space here for any bold predictions you have, whether that be TJ McConnell winning the MVP or I don't know. Or the Pacers win in 4. Do you have a bold prediction that you would like to make here?
Halliburton will not win Finals MVP if Pacers win. It will be Siakam. I'm calling it straight now. It will be Siakam.
All right. Well, I mean,
I don't know if that's a bold call necessarily, but like I'm calling who is going to be. So maybe it is.
Yeah. I mean, you just saw it happen in the Eastern Conference Finals, so this will maybe a little less bold than it was before then.
Yeah.
But, okay.
And SJ will not be the biggest contributor of the Thunder.
Oh.
It will be someone else. I don't know who it will be. Right now, I have it's either Jalen Williams or Alex Caruso. Yes, Caruso coming off the bench could have a bigger impact than this star.
We've seen this. We understand this. You know, I mean, Obi Toppin, you know, in certain situations has had bigger moments than any of the starters, right? For the Pacers. So I don't doubt it. Thomas Bryant had some big, in that last game. I'm going to say this may not be as big of a bold prediction. I got to hold this one back because this actually relates to the next one. So now I'm rethinking. I'm going to say that that Thomas Bryant will play a contributing role and will average 10 points a game.
Okay.
Over the whole series.
That's more than normal for him.
All right. There you go. Like I said, sneaky championship experience there. I think that he defines or is one of the definitions of this kind of Pacers attitude that even though he's on the bench, he is locked in, plugged in, cheering for his team, like with everything he's got, even though he's just sitting on the bench most of the minutes of the game. And then when he gets in there, it just ratchets up another level. It's crazy. All right. With that being said, now we go to what team wins the championship and how many games? I need who wins in how many games. Go.
If Thunder wins, Thunder in 5. If the Pacers win, it's Pacers in 6. I'm going to say Pacers win. 1, because I'm kind of biased. 2, the coaching is so much better. I think the matchups are even enough that the coaching will define who wins the series.
I'm going to say that it's an NBA Finals, and the NBA, regardless of how big the market is, I think that hopefully enough of us shout out basketball and bring basketball fans in and draw enough numbers, because this playoff so far has been a higher ratings number than it's been for a long time. And the two most watched players are
SGA
and
Halliburton.
Yes. So
The NBA, by the way, came out with a whole one. Well, the NBA has come out with multiple Tyrese Halliburton best plays, Pacers playoff run. They came out with a whole an hour-long thing of Knicks versus Pacers.
they're trying to capitalize on all the stuff that we've already been saying.
Mm-hmm. Many people are doing playoff runs and all this stuff. I'm just watching all this. I'm like, guys, I've been here since last season.
Where were you from the beginning? Come on. I'm going to say Pacers in 7.
Okay, they win in Oklahoma City.
Pacers in 7.
It's not as big as MSG, so it's definitely doable.
But
it's still rowdy.
I did just see, I don't know if this is internet foolishness, but I did just see somebody throw out a screenshot. Don't know if it was manipulated in Photoshop, that your mailing address to purchase tickets to the Thunder game have to be Oklahoma, Nebraska, like these Missouri, these surrounding areas. Your mailing address for your credit card has to be in that area. Otherwise, you'll be automatically declined and refunded your money.
That is crazy.
It is crazy. It is totally legal, though. That's what's crazy, is it's totally legal. And why you try to get your tickets off StubHub if you're trying to make a 4.5-hour trip up from Central Texas.
Yep.
So if you'd like to sponsor our trip, you can do that. We would love to be able to do that. If you have a company you'd like to sponsor our trip, we would love to shout you out as we make that trip, if you want to do that. So with all that said, that is pretty much it, I think, right?
Yeah.
That's it's all that we have for today. What, Thursday night? And then your mom and I will discuss what hopefully is the last games without Caitlin Clark as the Fever play the Mystics at home, and then in Chicago taking on the Sky.
Yep. Well, this is Liam.
And this is Kevin,
reminding you to stay all Indiana.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.